attending Busan National University as a graduate student in computer engineering. I've lived in Korea for over 7 years and I even run my own business now, a company that is developing a platform based on artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. From my experience, I can say with an absolutely certainty that Busan was the best place for me to start my business, thanks to the specialized blockchain zone. In the past 7 years, Busan has become my second home and I obviously love it here. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
Today we bring to you a report on what to do in case of heavy rain. There's nothing like preparation when it comes to torrential downpour. Isn't that right?
That's right. You must turn off your gas and electricity and quickly evacuate from areas vulnerable to flash flooding.
What should we do if we are already outside?
Evacuate to a safe place, away from construction sites, underground spaces, and areas prone to frequent flooding. If you're driving, do not stop the car. Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전 디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BEFM News at 2. I'm Kate Shin. The National Assembly celebrated the 76th anniversary of the Constitution Day, with Speaker Woo Won-sik delivering a commemorative address. He addressed the ongoing standoff between ruling and opposition parties regarding constitutional amendments, emphasizing the need for dialogue and compromise to address the people's livelihoods. Attending the ceremony included Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, Chief Justice Cho Hee-dae, and President Lee Jong-seok of the Constitutional Court of Korea, among lawmakers from various fields. Following the discovery of a deceased second-year teacher in Seocho-gu, Seoul, awareness of teacher authority violations has risen. This has led to more meetings of the School Rights Protection Committee to address educational issues. The Ministry of Education reported an increase in non-indictments for accused teachers, along with changes to the Special Act on Teacher Status and Protection. On the anniversary of the teacher's death, the ministry noted that the committee met over 1,300 times in 3 months this year, up from around 1,200 meetings last year. The number of cases handled also grew from around 3,000 in 2022 to about 5,000 in 2023. The Ministry of National Defense reported multiple casualties from about 10 mine explosions in North Korea's side of the demilitarized zone during mine-laying operations. North Korean military activities persist despite extreme heat and monsoon rains, focusing on mine-laying and building barriers. Troops work 12 to 13 hours a day in makeshift tents, suffering injuries from explosions and heat. Some units have mobilized female soldiers, and the ministry is prepared for potential accidental defections across the military demarcation line. Now for local news. The Busan Metropolitan Council is working on a new rule to help families with 4 or more children. They have passed an amendment to the Busan City Multi-Child Family Support Ordinance. In August last year, Busan reduced its support criteria for multi-child families from 3 to 2 children. This change happened because the total fertility rate in Busan was 0.72, which was lower than the national average of 0.78. Other cities also lowered their support criteria in a similar way at the time. The European jazz five-member string quintet Folosi will perform in South Korea on August 17th. The concert will take place at the Busan Citizens Hall. Folosi is a leading world music group in Europe. Folosi engages in various fields, including classical music. They are a top choice for festivals in Europe's world music scene. Time for international news. At least 26 people have died in a bus crash in southern Peru, according to an AFP report on the 16th local time. A bus carrying over 40 passengers fell into a 200-meter canyon while traveling from Lima to Ayacucho, resulting in at least 26 deaths and 14 injuries. This road is notorious for accidents, with a recent bus crash in May claiming 17 lives. Peru's mountainous terrain features many winding roads, contributing to frequent accidents due to poor maintenance, insufficient signals, and speeding. Last year, there were 87,000 accidents, resulting in over 3,100 deaths. Time now for the weather. It is currently 26 degrees Celsius and cloudy. The temperature will average around 25 degrees this afternoon. That's all we have time for this hour's news. Thanks for listening. You're listening to BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
For some of us, one of the best things about traveling is getting the chance to try new and different kinds of food. I am one of them. It turns out that there are many benefits of trying new foods. People who eat all kinds of different food tend to have diets that are richer in vitamins and minerals, and if you eat a wide variety of foods, you're also less likely to suffer from damaging inflammation. And you're also likely to have better levels of cholesterol, omega-3s, a lower risk of diabetes and heart disease. This all sounds pretty good, right? And once you've actually been exposed to new foods and new ingredients while you're traveling, you might actually bring them back home with you and have the things to share with the people around you. So today we're going to talk all about food and traveling and why there's such a good combination. It's Wednesday, July 17th. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get it started. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your host, Casey McKeever. You just listened to the song From the Jump by James Arthur and Kelly Clarkson. And that started off the show for us today. That was, yes, indeed, Kelly Clarkson and James Arthur. And you might be thinking, hey, weren't they both TV show winners? You would be right. That's right, exactly. Clarkson, she actually won the first season of American Idol way back in 2002. And James Arthur won the United Kingdom's X Factor in 2012. So put their talents together and you got the song From the Jump. And actually one person was so excited about the song where it's posted on Arthur's YouTube page. He said, James Arthur and Kelly Clarkson, both winners and survivors of TV talent shows, proving behind any doubt that their respective careers are the result of hard work. There you go. So it's not that easy to win those shows. It takes a lot of hard work, right? I think I agree with that. We're coming to you live in the studio here in Busan on this... Oh, it's Wednesday already? Really Wednesday? Okay. Wow. You're listening to us on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're broadcasting on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. And I thank you for joining us wherever you might be on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a good time, enjoying some decent-ish weather. I know the weather has been rough lately. Looks like the rain has stopped here in Busan, and I hope it's given you a break as well, wherever you might be at. And of course, if you want to join us on YouTube, we're streaming right there right now. If you search BEFM or Busan영어방송, you can see my wine-colored T-shirt today. That's what I decided to go with. And I do want to let you know, however, while we play music, the songs will be muted because there is a music copyright issue. So we apologize for the inconvenience. However, we do have the show, of course, playing uninterrupted on FM radio. And if you go to the App Store on your phone, you can search BEFM or 부산영어방송, and we have our own smartphone app you can download, and you can listen to the show completely uninterrupted, and you can contact us there as well. That's a pretty good deal, I think. Not bad, right? So we've got a lot coming up for you in hour number one. As we do every day, we've got Hot Off the Press coming up first. We will play you two of the newest songs that have been recently released and give you some background information about both the song and the artists behind them. There's a lot of fascinating information about the people who make music. And sometimes I'm surprised, you know, the processes that people go through or what they're actually writing about. And I was like, oh, I had no idea that's what that song was about. Sometimes it's better to use your own imagination, I find, actually. But yeah, it is fascinating to find out. Also, today is Wednesday, so we've got Jimmy coming in for All Around Busan, and Jimmy's going to introduce one of the variety of dongs we have in Busan's 16 different districts here. I'm wondering where it's going to be today. I think last week, if I recall, we talked about Haeundae, and so that would be, what was that, Jwadong? Yes, he was teaching udong. It was yes, udong. Jwa, left, right. Okay, so it was udong we were talking about last week, which is in Haeundae-gu. So I'm curious about what place we'll be talking about today. And Jimmy's always a good time to talk to, so it'll be a lot of fun. And of course, in hour number two, we've got our daily list. I was talking about food and traveling at the beginning of the show. Today's daily list, very useful for those of you who might be traveling soon. Today I've got 5 foods to eat before you fly and 5 foods to avoid before you fly. So 5 recommendations, things that are good for you while you're especially on a long flight, and then 5 things you should probably stay away from. And I was actually surprised by one of them that you should avoid. I was like, really? I've made this mistake many times. So I'll share that with you in hour number 2. Also, today is Wednesday. Man, the days are getting mixed up here. Today is Wednesday, so we've got Inside Korea for you. We do this every Wednesday. We'll talk about some stories about things that are happening here in Korea. I'll look at culture, I'll look at news, I'll look at some events. And today, one of our stories is indeed about food and traveling and things you should beware of before you travel back to Korea. So that's also really good advice because, you know, the world is an oyster when you're traveling, right? But you should also be aware there are local laws in every country. And you don't want to break those, especially when you come back to your own country. So don't do that. And of course, also today we'll have our perfect playlist. This week we've been talking about or playing songs that are lost singles from the 60s. And today we've got a couple of rock and rollers for you. I see a couple familiar names that I'm excited to share with you. And of course, I will be checking your messages throughout the show. So feel free to say hi, tell me how you're doing. Tell me how the weather is by you. If you're just hiding indoors, staying out of the humidity, or if you're actually venturing out, kind of walking around a little bit. I would be brave enough to walk around a little bit, but it's just, I stepped outside for a little bit and I was like, ugh. So right back indoors for me. But I do have a question of the day for you as well, because we're talking about traveling and talking about food. What is one food that you like to get when you travel? 여행 중에 먹고 싶은 음식은 무엇인가요? So I was thinking it could be long distance, right? It could be like perhaps, in case you were unaware and in case you can't tell by my fairly obvious accent, I am from the United States. And every time I go to the U.S., probably one of the first things I get is either a slice of pizza or a bagel, depending on where I'm going. And that's just, I can get them in other countries, but it's not the same. I'm sorry, it's not. So that's one of those things like, every time I go to the U.S., I get that. But that takes a long time and a lot of money to get there. And I like to travel a lot, in between, my every 2-year trip or every 3-year trip to the United States. Who knows when the next time will be actually with the flight prices, right? They're ridiculous. So I was also thinking locally, when I travel in Korea, I like to take road trips with my family quite often. And one thing we always get is hodu gwaja. So every time we go to the rest area or the rest stop area or 휴게소, first thing we look for is hodu gwaja. And I don't know why, but that just means we're on the road and we're traveling. And if I get a fresh pack of hodu gwaja where it's like hot still and obviously freshly made, I'm a very happy camper. I will continue. I'll drive. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'll drive all the way to Gangwon-do and back. Doesn't matter. If I get one of those stale bags of hodu gwaja that has been sitting out for too long, like all day long, and I'm the unlucky customer who bought it, I'm very upset. I can't handle it. The stale hodu gwaja is the worst. So that's one thing I always get when I travel. I'm curious, what do you like to get when you travel? What kind of food is it? Is it a snack? Is it something big? Is it like a huge meal? Maybe a particular restaurant? Whatever. Let me know. You can send us a message at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us for free if you look on Kakao Talk and search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. You just add us there and you can send us messages. And as I mentioned before, if you go to the App Store on your phone and just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송 in any of those app stores, you'll find our smartphone app and you can download that. And you can log in, leave us some comments, and as well as take the show with you on the go. You could ride the subway and listen to the show. I like that. That's pretty cool. So think about your answers. What do you like to eat every time you travel? What's that food that you really want to get? Or it could be one experience that you've had, like, I tried this when I traveled last time. It was really good. Whatever you'd like to tell me. Think about it, and we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Rave Angel by Blusher, and then we'll be back with Hot Off the Press. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard Rave Angel by Blusher, and now it is time for Hot Off the Press. We do this every Monday through Friday. We bring you two of the newest and hottest tracks from around the world of music. And there's a lot of those songs that are released every week, of course, and we do our best to choose two that we think you're really going to enjoy and tell you a little bit about them. Our first song for today is I Hope I Never Fall in Love by Maren Morris. That's a downer of a title, is it not? I Hope I Never Fall in Love. I guess she had a hard time. Maren Morris has actually shared this new single following from last month's Julia Michaels collaboration. And this song, as you could probably tell from the title, is a heartbreak ballad. It serves as the latest preview of the American country star's new 5-song EP, which is called Intermission and is due out on August 2nd. And according to Maren Morris, it's a bittersweet heartbreaker because I'm in self-protection mode, but still want to feel things. I hear you, girl. So throwing parties, going home with a stranger, aigu, popping champagne, whatever we need to do to process our trauma, it's not a pretty road to healing. I, of course, do want to fall in love again, but I can't put my heart through it just yet. So here's a number about this strange but constructive and destructive window of my life. Cool. So that'll be an interesting listen into her private life, basically. She's sharing with all of us. Our second song for today is Solitude of the Night Bus by Courteniers. And the Courteniers are a UK indie band that are going to release their 7th studio album called Pink Cactus Cafe. That's coming up on October 25th. And to coincide with the news, the band have shared their first single called Solitude of the Night Bus. This one's an electro-pop song. It comes with like a psychedelic Dom Foster directed video. And in the video, you see frontman Liam Frey taking a nocturnal trip on the number 17. That's okay. So that'll be an interesting video to see. According to Liam, he said, "This came at a time of real questioning. Things weren't going particularly well. No confidence, no direction. I think that's why Whisper It is on the fun side. Okay. It's a summer breeze, but it's a winter night. Either way, sometimes you have to block out the noise." I know that was English, and I'm sure he meant a lot by that, but I'll have to think about what he meant by all that. So very interesting. Maybe the song will give me some clues there. We got 2 songs for you today on Hot Off the Press. First up, I Hope I Never Fall in Love by Maren Morris. Secondly, we've got Solitude of the Night Bus by Courteniers. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. reboot. You just heard Solitude of the Night Bus. Did you catch that accent? That was a cool British accent by the Courtneyers there. So I enjoyed that. Yeah, I kind of figured out a little bit more about what he was talking about. His explanation of the song, yeah, sometimes just leave it to the listeners to determine, right? And before that, we heard I Hope I Never Fall in Love by Maren Morris. And those are our two songs for Hot Off the Press from today. And of course, my question of the day is, what is one food that you like to get when you travel? 여행 중에 먹고 싶은 음식은 무엇인가요? So, of course, you can send us your answer here at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us for free on Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or 부산영어방송. Just add us, and then you can send us a message that way. Or you can go to the App Store on your smartphone. Yes, on your smartphone. Yes, I'm correcting myself unnecessarily. Go to the App Store there. You can search BEFM or 부산영어방송, and you can download our smartphone app right there. You can listen to the show. You can log in, leave us some comments. It's a whole bundle. It's a thing there. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Jimmy and All Around Busan. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is time for All Around Busan with Jimmy. Welcome to the studio, good sir.
Yeah. Jimmy in the building.
That's right. Jimmy's here. And actually, we were actually talking about today's topic slightly. I didn't get to go into depth, into detail, but we were talking about travel a little bit before we just came on the air. And of course, Jimmy is going to tell us all about the various dongs in Busan. That's what he comes for every Wednesday. So we're going to learn about one of them today. But before that, I want to ask Jimmy really quick, what is one food that you like to get when you travel?
Well, it depends where you go.
Of course.
So in case of like Vietnam, I must gotta get pho, right?
Pho.
Yeah.
Pho.
Yeah, pho.
Yeah, you got pho. Yeah, I would try to say pho like when I went to Vietnam, and they were like,
No.
they're like, what?
Pho.
Pho. Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, like so
Pho,
it's
God.
definitely depending on like where you're actually heading to.
Sure, of course.
Like, yeah.
Do you go to Vietnam a lot?
No, it's actually gonna be my first time in this upcoming September.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So this will be the first time you get to try pho
Pho.
locally, right?
Are we correct though?
I know. Please, somebody, if anybody's listening for Vietnam, can you just send us the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
IPA, please. I need the IPA so I can
Right.
read the correct pronunciation. But I did have people correct me a lot. So I did learn like a tiny bit of Vietnamese when I was there.
Really?
Once or twice.
Wow.
Twice? Yeah, so Xin Gamun. My pronunciation's terrible, I'm sure, but that's a
Okay.
good one to learn, like how to say thank you.
Oh.
And then all the food that you need to order. So yeah, learn those
All right.
words and then you'll be set.
Yeah.
So is there a country that you go to often and there's like a particular food that you like to get when you go there?
Yeah, like in case of like Singapore or Thailand, whenever I go to Thailand, I
Yeah.
always, go to those, food rallies and alleys, and I go to like get pad thai
Oh, pad thai.
or somtam, like papaya salad.
Yes.
Yeah, those kind of menus.
Are you a fan of the tom yum goong?
Tom yam goong, yes, yes, I am.
Tom. I can't do that. 상디가.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Tom yam goong.
I'll work on it. But yeah, I love that one too. I'm
sure.
going to say the English translation is hot and sour soup, which doesn't sound nearly as appetizing. But it's, man, I love it. And some people do not.
You're right.
I know a lot of people are like, I can't handle that. But man, that's one of my favorites. So yeah, okay, cool. So Thailand is a big one for you.
Yeah.
And Thai food. Cool.
Right.
Anywhere else?
Oh, well, in case of like whenever I head to LA, I always crave for tacos or burritos.
I hear ya.
Yeah, and burgers, like handcrafted burgers too. They've got like a lot of shops there. So
Right. And it's like unique to LA, right? Just
Yeah.
like the food that you get in Thailand is unique to Thailand. Of course, do people try to make it in other places?
Definitely.
Of course. But is it the same? Not the same.
not the same.
Right? It's always like, I love that too. I hope
Right.
that never changes.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
world.
hopefully.
You're right? Because
Yeah.
that makes like each place kind of unique and special.
I
So,
know. If it's the same, then what's the point of traveling around?
Thank you. Because a big thing I like about traveling is actually food. Like that's probably my number one thing to do when I travel. Is It's
sure.
like I want to try everything that people eat here as much as possible. And there's definitely been some challenges. That I remember eating something in Vietnam, actually in Nha Trang, Vietnam. There was a really local restaurant. And I got so sick. I can't remember what the dish was, but it was like, I was the only one out of my family that ate it, and I certainly paid for it.
Wow.
But it was worth the experience. Sometimes you gamble.
For sure.
You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them, I think. the song
Yeah.
goes, right?
That's all about, adventure.
Right? Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your answer, Jimmy. But of course, we're here to talk about Busan.
For sure.
So what area of Busan are we going to talk about today?
Today, I'm going to take you guys to one of the hot spots here in Busan, Suyeonggu Gwangandong area.
Oh, okay. And if you're not familiar, so last week we talked about Haeundae-gu and Udong, right? So this week we're talking about Suyeonggu, Gwangandong. What's the connection between those two places?
You actually pinpointed it out. I kind of
Yes.
put that in, next to each other, like neck to neck, because those two places are like one of the most competitive beach area where
Right.
a lot of tourists comes.
Yep.
And there's a lot of, hotel chains and
Sure.
accommodations. So yeah, those are like one of the most popular areas
Right.
representing Busan.
For sure. And
Yeah.
I would say, like, even though they're both very popular, they're very different.
Oh, they are, definitely.
Very different. I would probably say I spend most of my time in the Gwangali area just because I live a bit closer. But it's also just like a completely different feeling. Sometimes Haeundae feels like, to me, because I live here, because I'm a resident here, sometimes Haeundae feels a little bit more geared toward tourists, and Gwangan feels a little bit more geared towards locals. Would you agree with
I agree
that?
with that. Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
hey, I win.
But it doesn't mean
Do I win a
that
prize?
Gwangan is better. Come
No,
on, all Haeundae
not-
people, raise your hands.
I'm not saying that.
I know.
Not
Just
saying
playing
that.
with you.
It's not a competition.
Yeah, it's not a
I mean, it
competition.
kind of is, though, isn't it? All right, I won't say which one, in my opinion, is better because that's
Right.
irrelevant, right? But today we want to learn about Gwangandong. What are we going to learn today about Gwangandong?
Yeah, I mean, Gwangandong is definitely a part of Suyeonggu district
Right.
and is actually known for its stunning beaches and violent nightlives and even, a lot of local delicious and well-known restaurants as well.
Of course, I mean, what's a location without food? As we just
I know.
we were just talking about before.
I know.
One of the biggest things about traveling and going, and when I say travel, I don't mean necessarily just international travel. I was saying
Right.
before that when I like to travel locally in Korea, like even like just an hour away, if I'm going to like Ulsan or if I'm going to like Jinju or Gwangju, we like to go to the Hugyeso and get hodu gwaja.
For sure. Oh, I'm into that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things. Like, it just means that I'm not at home. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Right.
that's something I don't eat at home all the time. And we got on the map there. I saw. Okay,
Yeah, getaway.
I'm a little late there. But yeah, so anytime you go to a location, food is a big part of that location, right?
Right.
Cool. So I'm happy we're going to talk about that.
So,
of course.
Yeah, when we actually go to Gwangandong, the first thing that you see is the Diamond Bridge, aka Gwangan Bridge.
Right.
And it's actually, really, really beautiful and stunning and fabulous during the daytime nor nighttime. Because there is like a lightning at the nighttime, and many people actually comes during the nighttime because of that drone shows, which is held on pretty much every Saturdays and now and then.
Right, unless the rain.
Right.
Right, unless it does rain and
Right.
cancels it, right? But yeah, usually it's every Saturday night. And that's one thing we were talking off the air. Jimmy was like, have your friends gone home yet? Because they were sticking around for a while.
I know.
Yeah, and they did get to catch the drone show. And a lot of people, that's like one of their highlights for going to Gwangan. They just love the drone show because I guess you don't see that elsewhere. I don't know. I guess I've become
don't think
accustomed to it where I take it for granted. I'm like, yeah, Saturday night there's going to be a drone show. But I guess the first time people see it, they're like, oh, wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times when people I talk to come to Gwangan, they're like, yeah, I definitely want to go check that out. So that drone show, yes, for sure. And the Gwangan Bridge, people just like to take pictures, yeah, like you say, day or night. And the weird weather lately has like shrouded it in fog.
Oh, that still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's
if
cool.
you're definitely into photography, right?
For sure. It's like a unique chance to like see the Gwangan Bridge like almost completely covered. It's been weird lately. It looks like the set of a horror movie actually, and I thoroughly enjoy that.
So am I, definitely.
Cool. For sure. So what else is Gwangan known for?
Well, as we all know, I guess it's one of the main representative place is all we know, Gwangan Beach area. So like when you actually go there, I mean, yeah, we talked about drone show, but then also on weekends, they have like all this, what do you call that? Like all these people selling their products.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right.
they have-
Kind of like a little mini market.
Right,
that they
like
sell,
mini
a
market.
street market.
Yeah, street markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually do that. So you actually have more to see and experience other than just looking at the bridge itself,
Right.
and maybe just go into the water and play in the water.
Which
you can
would-
actually do something else.
And that's the main attraction for a lot of people is the fact that, there's a beach right there you can go swimming in. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff to do. There will be a lot of times I guess you could call it like a flea market.
Yeah, flea market, yes.
Right? It's kind of
Right.
like a right in the middle of the beach, basically, where there's a big intersection. Across from that, you'll see there's like a really long strip of like tables and stuff where people are selling like arts and crafts.
For sure.
People are drawing pictures.
Yeah, like candles.
Right. All kinds of
Right.
like handmade stuff.
Right.
So they kind of bring the market to you on the weekend. And then you'll also see there are a lot of street performers out there.
For sure.
Right?
Like buskers.
Buskers.
Yeah.
You'll also see like street magicians.
Yeah.
There's a street magician I've seen there twice now. This guy is insane in a good way, in all the right ways. He does a fire act. I'll put it that way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And some magicians too, right?
Yeah. He's a magician. He does like he'll eat the fire.
What?
Yes, and
Wow.
he's got permission to be out there.
Really?
So he does it in a quote unquote safe way. But I've seen him do fire eating out there.
Wow.
So yeah, like you never know what kind of street performers you'll see out there. A lot of guys that are really good with like card magic as well.
Right.
They're so good. Yeah. So there's tons of stuff to entertain you besides swimming.
Yeah, and also if you guys are into like, watching sunsets,
I am.
that's
Big fan.
definitely one of a kind.
Yeah, for sure. With
Yeah.
the bridge there, yeah, it's nice. And and also, I guess on a really clear day, you can see how far out there can you see? There's like a lot of boats like way out in the distance as well. It's just
yeah.
like a cool location.
Right.
A lot of people taking their catamarans out.
That too. And one thing that I really, really love about this place though, it's kind of like all the bars and pubs and restaurants are like right there.
Yes.
You don't really need to walk further out.
I'm not saying different or better than Haeundae, but
You're trying to compare.
I'm not comparing, but for convenience purposes to like be close to the beach and get to a
That's
cafe.
true, yeah.
It's very convenient.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like you just, walk right across the street there, and there's a lot of crosswalks as well. And I think
Right.
they're like reorganizing that whole thing as well. So it's a lot of things going on in progress there. What would you say is like the major tourist attraction in Gwangan?
Gwangan, probably the beach.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, there is a Millak waterfront park too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right next to it. Like there is a Subyeonggongan. Now it's like completely restricted for like drinking and like anything else. But then
It used to be a different scene.
Yeah, you could still
be different.
you could still go and hang out.
Right.
And with your loved ones or family, you guys can just like check out the beach and
Drink
then just
water.
talk. Yeah, drink water.
Drink water.
Or juice or coffee.
Right. There are many
Yeah.
options besides the
Anything
usual.
that it gets on your hand besides alcohol. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great area as well. Cool. I tell you what, that's a great spot to take a quick break. We've been looking at Gwangan-dong in Suyeong-gu, and after the break, we're going to come back with Jimmy and talk a little bit more about Gwangan-dong and your personal experience.
Oh, yeah.
Sound good?
All right.
All right, so let's take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Make It Me by Mickey Guyton, and we'll be right back.
Make it me.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and we are back with Jimmy and All Around Busan. Before the song break that you just heard there, that was Make It Me by Mickey Guyton. Before that, we were talking about Gwangan-dong and all the things that are there. You know, the main attraction for a lot of people is definitely Gwangan-li Beach.
Right.
Sometimes Gwangan Beach. Why? Gwangan-li. Right. Village, Li is like village, basically translated, right?
Gwangan Beach.
Right. So you'll see it, and it might confuse you. Like sometimes it's spelled with an L and sometimes an N. It's just how Korean language changes according to the sound, right? So it's Gwangan or Gwangali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something. That's my Korean information for today. That has been your Korean Minute with Casey McKeever. So what are we going to talk about at Gwangan-dong? Have you been there recently?
Oh, definitely. I usually go there like very, very often. Whenever I have like a night out appointments or even dinner appointments, we meet in the middle.
Ah, okay.
Because we all don't live in the same neighborhood.
So you mean we, like as in friends?
Yeah.
So you guys will just kind of like, oh, let's meet up in Gwangan tonight.
Right. Either Gwangan or Haeundae. So yeah, I actually go there a lot. And one thing that I love about going there maybe on weekends or even during the daytime, I'm such a bread and pastry lover.
Ah.
So as you know, there is a little street named Bangcheon-dong-gil.
Right.
So that's like kind of connecting Gwangan-dong and Namcheon-dong.
Right.
Right?
And it's like it's hard to tell where the two actually end, right? Because they do just kind of like morph into each other.
Right.
So I guess you know like you're in Namcheon-dong when you hit the bread street, right? So So like if you go from the beach, let's say, I believe you'd be like more on the Gumyeonsan side of the beach.
Right, right.
And you kind of like follow, there's a lot of streets that are one way for cars.
For sure.
And then you'll know you're kind of in the right place. Do the cars know that are they one-way streets? Not always. So be careful walking around there. But yeah, so when you'll notice there's a lot of one-way streets for cars, and then you're going to get into, what do they call it?
Banglidangil. No.
Banglidangil?
No, yeah, Banglidangil. Yeah.
Bangcheon?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's basically Bread Street.
Yeah, Bread Street.
And it's a variety of different pastry shops, bakeries. And you'll see, like, sometimes the shops are really tiny. But they'll have really long lines.
Right.
And some of those places will just sell out before the day's even halfway over.
Yeah, you exactly know what it is. I mean, there's a lot of regular guests.
Yeah.
So if you don't go there like early in the morning or if you're not thinking about just waiting in long line, then forget about it.
Yeah.
go to somewhere else.
Onward. Because, it's a lot of, I would say maybe tourists or, some of the business for that. But I think it seems mostly to be like locals that are supporting those businesses, right?
Yeah.
They just have like their favorite spots and they go there every day.
Yeah.
And they're really good and very different, by the way. All of these bakeries have their own unique kind of niche.
For sure.
Right? I don't think they're really repeating anything or copying anything, which is often the case when you go to bakeries like, this again? That weird hot dog and corn combination? No.
Yeah, they
Not
all
only
have
that.
their own signature menus and even with like coffee and tea and etc. So yeah, it's definitely worth going there to try it out.
Totally agree. That's like one of my favorite parts about the area.
Yeah.
Cool. So what else have you partaken in Gwangan recently?
Well, as for last year, I actually went out to try out on a pedalboarding.
Oh, did you try it?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I loved it.
Did you?
I actually did it 3 times.
Okay.
So first 2, everything was perfect. But the last one, I guess because of the heavy rain, even then, as you know, it kind of like gets like all the dirt and like dirty things. So I couldn't really stay in for a long time.
It was just kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I guess when you do the paddleboard as a beginner, right? That was your first time doing it?
Yeah.
They give you that inflatable one, right?
Right.
You get the inflatable one. And I'm assuming when the water gets kind of churned up with stuff, they probably just gets all over that board and makes it really like slippery, right?
You know it.
I could get, because I've seen people like wipe out and I'm like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
But I guess that's what's happening.
Right.
Right. So I guess it's good to think about what day and what the weather's like if you want to try
For sure. But yeah, that's also really fun. So what I do is, in case of like last year's experience, I just go there like early in the morning and try out my paddleboarding skills.
Right.
And go all the way up nearby the Gwangan Bridge and then come back.
You went from the beach all the way to the bridge?
Yeah.
And back?
Yeah.
On your first try?
My second try, actually.
Okay. Well, I was about to be extremely impressed.
It was fun.
Yeah. Did you have like an instructor the first time?
Of course.
And they kind of, so within like one day of instruction, you felt like the second time, I'm going to go to the bridge.
Right. And they let us. And some instructors actually do follow.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, but they're not like right beside me.
Right,
But
just
yeah,
get
they're
outta
kind
here.
of like, yeah.
I'm going to go to
I'm
Japan on this paddleboard. Is that okay? Sure. So they
Yes,
actually do
yeah.
make sure that, okay.
So I'm on their site.
Right.
But anyways, after that, we all get hungry after playing in the water.
Like, how much of a workout is that? Like, are you like exhausted afterwards?
I was.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I was in the water for like a couple hours.
Right.
And then, because I wanted to actually like, learn it really, really quick.
Right.
And as we all know, we all have that gut feeling of like, oh, I'm going to stand and I'm going to go all the way to Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But of course I failed on it.
Well, I mean, it's a very far distance to go. But
Right.
you made it to the Gwangan Bridge, and I'm impressed by that. On your second attempt, like on your
Yeah.
second day of
Yeah.
paddleboarding, you were
Right.
like, I'm going to get to the bridge and back, and you did. Do you know how long that took, roughly?
In
you
my
remember?
case, as a beginner, probably because I didn't go at once. I
Right.
kind of stopped. And like,
I mean, like,
yeah.
it's all upper body strength,
I
right?
know. So
Right, so-
probably like round trip, 1 hour.
Wow. So if you want to try that, that's a good thing to know. If you want to try paddleboarding and your mission is to make it from the beach to all the way to the Gwangan Bridge and back, you need a good hour at least,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
if it's your first time especially, give yourself a little more time. But yeah, I see people out there all the time and it looks like a lot of fun. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. And
will.
luckily, I guess because that's one of the charm about Gwangan, like I didn't really get to shower, but I could just like go to like one of those places and then order drinks or even snacks, and
Right.
then I could just like kill some time to rest. And then maybe if you feel like going back in the water, you could, or if you just want to go to the shower place and then you just get yourself clean and
If
get
you want
dressed.
to, but I
Yeah,
like
if
the
you
fact
want
that you
to.
said you don't really have to.
Yeah.
It's the beach. Everybody's fine.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
What about, so you did mention the food there. Anything else you want to tell us about the food about
Oh,
Gwangan?
for sure. What I love about here is, again, they've got like this really, really delicious raw fish.
Oh, for sure.
restaurants.
Yep.
They actually have that raw fish complex, that building.
Yep.
The whole building is
I took my
actually
friends there.
full of raw fish restaurants.
Yep. We went there with my friends and they loved it.
Yeah.
And we ate way too much.
Right.
It was exciting. Yeah, we loved that so much. So yeah, that's one of the big things. Anything else you'd recommend locally food-wise?
Oh, have you ever tried bingsu, pot bingsu?
Of course.
The ice flakes, right?
Oh, there's a really cool place. Yes, I don't know the name anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
there's a really cool place in the Gwangan-dong area.
You're probably thinking about the same
It
place.
looks like it's set in a jungle.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
It's
the
like
one.
A building with trees all in it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reveal the name because I don't really know the name itself,
Name either.
but you know what I'm talking about.
You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah,
It's very close. All
that
right.
place.
Could you give us one sentence about Gwangan-dong?
Yeah, Gwangan-dong is definitely a coastal neighborhood in Busan and known for its stunning Gwangan beach and also the bustling life and also beautiful Gwangan Bridge itself.
Cool. And I think that's a very succinct description. And if that's not enough to entice you, we'll put up some pictures of us paddleboarding out to Gwangan Beach. What do you think?
Oh, I'm down. I'm
Oh, man,
definitely
scared.
down.
Suddenly I'm scared. I'll think about it.
All right.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, so much. And of course, we'll see you next week for more All Around Busan.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
All right, so that was Jimmy for All Around Busan. We've got time for one more song. We're going to listen to Black Hole Sun by Robin Adele Anderson, and then we'll be back at 3.
부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Electric kickboards and electric bicycles are common on the streets these days. With the increased use of personal mobility devices, the number of accidents and deaths have reportedly increased significantly.
Personal mobility patrol mode.
I don't need to wear a safety helmet because I'm only riding a short distance.
Wear a safety helmet. When you drive your personal mobility devices, you have to wear a safety helmet.
Hey, I rented an electric kickboard. Let's ride it together.
Okay, you drive in the front, I'll get in the back.
Follow the number of passengers. Only one person can ride an electric kickboard and electric wheel parallel car.
Follow the rules of personal mobility devices and drive safely. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and you just listened to Alibi by Ella Henderson featuring Rudimental to kick off the second hour of the show. And in case you weren't familiar with that drum rhythm there, that's called that drum and bass, right? And that was a signature of Rudimental, thus the big featuring on the song there. That drum and bass style, the really fast-paced, high-energy dance. And of course, that blended well with Ella Henderson's soulful vocals. If the song sounded familiar, there's a reason for that. The song starts with the choir from the Coolio 1995 hit Gangsta's Paradise, which was actually also a rework of Stevie Wonder's Pastime Paradise from 1976. Suddenly, I'm reminded of what we were talking about yesterday with Melissa on Officially Amazing, how songs are like recycled a lot, right? So this is another example of that. Something from the 70s, recycled to the 1990s, and then back to now. And then this is obviously a very, very more modern take on it. This is definitely the propulsive energy of the 2020s version of electronica, mixed with that kind of soulful charm of the 1970s, but also a little bit of that 1990s hip-hop swagger, right? So that song is definitely showing you different musical influences that have kind of weaved throughout decades, and showing you how like music, while, you know, things are being reused and sampled, there's constant like evolution and boundary changes and, you know, mixing and mashing of genres as well. It's really interesting. Welcome back to the program, everybody. You're listening to us here on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. Also in Seoul, we're broadcasting on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you might be today. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. We made it. And we're getting a little bit of a weather break here in Busan, at least. I hope your weather is not so bad wherever you're at as well. We've got a lot coming up for you in the show in hour number 2. First up, we're going to have our daily list. And a lot of people are traveling and interested in traveling, especially because it's the summertime, right? It's the time to travel. And if you might be flying soon, I have a good list for you. These are 5 of the best foods to eat before you fly and 5 foods to avoid before you fly. So hopefully some useful information that you can take with you wherever you might be going this summer. And I'm jealous. If you're going anywhere, I'm happy for you, but at the same time, I'm jealous. Jimmy said he was going to Vietnam soon, and I was like, oh man, I want to go to Vietnam. Me too. But I will be probably sticking around here all summer long, so I'll be living vicariously through you. If you have travel plans for this summer, let me know. Where are you going? Where are you heading to? I'm curious. And also, we're going to have Inside Korea today at hour number 2 because it is Wednesday, and we always talk about things that are happening in Korea in the news, perhaps some events, perhaps some culture. Today's kind of a combination of travel plus news. I guess some people have been buying some products that they enjoy overseas, and then when they bring them back to Korea, it's a big no-no. So I'm going to let you know about one of those products you should avoid bringing back to Korea. And it might be seemingly harmless to you, but you don't want to run afoul of the law, right? Of course not. And then, of course, today we're going to end the show with our perfect playlist. Our theme for this week has been Lost Singles of the 60s. So we've got some 60s singles coming up by some pretty well-known artists that you may have never heard before. So that'll be interesting. And of course, I'll be checking your messages throughout the show. My question today, in addition to if you have any travel plans, sure, let me know where you're going to go. But the thing I wanted to know today is, when you travel, what is one food that you like to get? 여행 중에 먹고 싶은 음식은 무엇인가요? So Jimmy, for example, he talked about when he goes to Vietnam, he wants to get, as we commonly call it, pho in English. But I don't know if people are going to understand if you say pho when you get to Vietnam. I think it's closer to pho. It has that tone. I'm not sure. I can't do it. But yeah, so that's what he's looking forward to in Vietnam. And he also mentioned in Thailand, he likes to get pad thai, which I'm sure is not how people pronounce it there as well. And also when he goes to LA, he really likes to get like tacos and things like that. So yeah, local food could be a perfect idea. You know, what do you like to get that's local when you travel somewhere? Or just when you travel, is there something that you enjoy buying? And that means, we're traveling right now. It has that kind of feeling for you. For me, that would be hodu gwaja. Hodu gwaja means I'm traveling on the road somewhere. I never buy it and bring it home. That's always something I buy at the 휴게소. Like when you hit that rest stop area, and I'm like, yeah, I want a little snack while I'm driving. I always get hodu gwaja. Sometimes, what is that called? 통감자? Is that the potato that's in a cup? I prefer mine with salt. Salt is the way to go for me. So 통감자, that's another one, but that's not every time. That's sometimes. So you can send me your answer. What kind of food you like to get when you travel at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us on Kakao Talk for free if you search BEFM or 부산영어방송. You can just add us there and send us a message. And then, of course, you can reach us if you download our smartphone app. Just go to the App Store on your phone, search BEFM or 부산영어방송. You can download it. You can log in, send us a comment or two. Tell me how you're doing today. And, of course, we're going to be right back with our daily list. We're going to take a quick song break with Just Wanna Dance by Sky Holland.
Just wanna dance.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. You just heard Just Wanna Dance by Sky Holland. And now it is time for today's daily list. And I think I'm doing you a favor today. This is like my mission. I'm jealous of all of you who get to travel. I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. But a little bit jealous at the same time. So I thought, all right, stop being jealous. Just help people out. If people are going to travel, what kind of useful information could you give them? I think this is pretty useful. These are 5 of the best foods to eat before you fly and also 5 foods to avoid. And I'm actually going to use this information for myself too, but because apparently I've been doing things slightly wrong. Because if you're flying in the near future, of course, you want to be comfortable. You want to be as stress-free as possible. But one thing that you have to kind of consider before you go on the plane and part of your travel planning, think about what you want to eat before and during your flight because it will affect your flight as well. And a lot of people actually don't even understand or underestimate the toll that air travel can take on your body, especially your digestive system. According to Lisa Moskovitz, who is an author and founder of the New York Nutrition Group, She says flying can be exciting, especially if you're going somewhere fun. However, it can also be incredibly stressful on your body, leading to major GI side effects, which GI is, what is that? Something tract, right? Intestines? GI, I can't remember. What does that mean? Basically, what you're looking at is bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. Oh, man. And you might be saying, well, why? Well, first, if flying is emotional for you, that tension can have a direct impact on how well your GI tract. That's what it is, GI tract. Yes. It's basically your internal stuff, right? All the stuff where the food goes and then exits, right? So if you have like a lot of strong emotions when you fly, it can impact how your GI tract is functioning because, as they say, your mind and gut are very closely connected. Another thing that I had no idea, never considered, there is low cabin air pressure, and that actually causes gas to expand in your belly and leads to extra bloat and discomfort. That kind of explains a lot because I've been on those long flights before where I'm like, my stomach's like, what's going on here? And I was like, I didn't eat anything strange, nothing out of the ordinary, but that's actually going on because of the low cabin air pressure. So if you're more likely to have these issues, if you're already prone to digestive conditions or if you have a sensitive system. However, anyone can experience occasional flight-related stomach troubles. So if you choose carefully what you eat before you get on the plane, that can help your trip go much more smoothly. So here's some of the best foods to eat before you fly, as recommended by experts. Number 1, probably a no-brainer, water. It might not be considered a food, but every expert they talk to stressed the importance of staying well hydrated when flying. According to Aviva Rubin, who's a MSRDN, probably the best thing you can do before and during your flight is drink water. Water prevents dehydration and reduces jet lag while keeping you from feeling lethargic. So drink lots of water before and during your flight. And also, that's a kind of a simple way to get your flight going off on the right foot. According to Susan Bowerman, who is also well documented, she's MSRD, CSSD, and et cetera, she's well qualified to give you advice. She says try to drink about 8 ounces of fluid for every hour you are in the air. That sounds like a lot to me. 8 ounces, what is that in the metric conversion for that? 8 ounces, what would that be to milliliters? I don't know, a lot? 236 milliliters? Yeah, that sounds like a lot. Right? That's like basically a teacup every hour. One of those like small kind of teacups, right? So I certainly do not drink that much water while I fly. And I'm always kind of feeling like dry and dehydrated. So I'm going to take this advice into consideration next time I get on a plane. It just seems like a simple thing to do as well. Like not that complicated. They've always got water available to you. If you do fly in one of those flights where they don't offer you water because it's like a discount service, just go prepared in advance. Bring as much water as is possible to carry on the plane, I guess. Or you might have to purchase it, right? Another thing you can do, I think also kind of related to water, is fruit. There are obviously a lot of fruits that are excellent sources of water. Oranges are one of those. But the good thing about oranges, not only are you getting water, you're getting vitamin C, and that's an effective way to boost your immunity. You might be exposed to all kinds of things that people have on a plane. You never know who's sitting next to you and what they might be carrying with them, right? So you're in an enclosed space for a long time. Might as well boost your immune system as much as possible, right? Another good option apparently are bananas. Bananas actually help you fight that kind of bloating. And bananas can be easy on your digestion, easy to travel with, right? They're easy to carry and easy to eat no matter where you are on your journey, right? All you got is that little leftover garbage to throw out somewhere. Don't, leave it for people to step on and then slip. That would be terrible, right? That's what happens in the cartoons. So yeah, bananas like very easy to carry, much easier to eat than an orange, certainly. Just easy peel, right? So fruit, a very good option there as well. Another good choice, lean protein. Lean protein gives your body a nutritional boost without high fat. So if you eat lean protein such as non-fat yogurt, turkey, or chicken, it will make you feel full and also fuel your brain. You can also add some fruit or veggies with that. So the best combination is actually some protein with some good-for-you carbs like fruits, veggies, and whole grains. The carbs will help you sustain energy, and the protein will help keep you satisfied and may keep you from indulging in the typically unhealthy snacks that are offered by the airline, and they keep those coming, right? The whole flight. At some point, you just have to be like, no, leave me alone. So perhaps a good idea, for example, would be like a turkey sandwich on whole grain bread, or for like a short flight, maybe just an apple or orange with some nuts or string cheese. A protein bar or a carton of yogurt with a piece of fruit would all work well. So don't eat too much, too, it sounds like, right? All of these are like kind of short and simple options to eat. Another option is unsalted nuts. Nuts are very obviously easy to carry. They're portable, but they are also really good for your gut. They've got fiber and protein. They also offer magnesium that can help fight against that bloating effect. And if you choose unsalted nuts, you're minimizing the water retention that's a common side effect of flying. So a lot of the nuts that they offer on the plane are probably already salted, right? So avoid those, bring your own, it sounds like. Another final recommendation for what you should eat before flying, protein bars. They mentioned that previously, but protein bars are also easy to carry. They are obviously, you should look into the ingredients. But, if you look for a good one, they can have probably about 5 grams of fiber, at least 10 grams of protein, and 0 artificial sweeteners is what you want. That's a kind of suitable kind of protein bar to travel with. They can keep you energized and feel full for several hours on your flight so you don't overeat with other stuff. Real quick, food that you want to avoid before flying. There's 5 of these as well. Salty foods. These are some of the things that will make your flight worse. And as I mentioned before, nuts, if you get those on the airline, they're usually fairly heavily salted. That also includes chips, pretzels, crackers. These will just make you thirsty. You're already going to be dehydrated from flying, so don't add to that. And those are some of the most common complimentary in-flight snacks, so I guess you just got to say, no thanks. And if you want to eat those kinds of things, perhaps bring your own with like a low salt or no salt option. Another thing to avoid, caffeinated beverages. So I see people always drinking coffee after the meal, right? I guess caffeinated beverages are not the best idea. I often get the free complimentary green tea with my meal as well after I'm done. I guess perhaps that's not the best idea. Coffee especially can help you deal with stress, but it's a stimulant and it can also aggravate stomach acidity, increase gastric motility, which doesn't sound like a good thing, and that in turn increases bowel movements. So if you want to avoid waiting in line for the bathroom for, when you really got to go, avoid the caffeine. If you like it, especially with milk and sweetened with sugar, those 2 extra additives to coffee can actually be major gastrointestinal offenders. So if you got to have your coffee, perhaps at least don't have milk and sugar with it. Number 3 is actually, I'm surprised by this one. I didn't really think about it, but I definitely like to eat big salads, and they say don't do it. If you have a lot of veggies, that's a great way to get a lot of nutrients, but they can also be harder to digest, lead to more gas, bloating, and general discomfort, especially if you consume them right before a long journey. So, oops, now I know. Do not eat a big salad before you take a plane ride. And I had no idea. So that's why I'm really happy to be sharing this list with you. I'm assuming if I didn't know, perhaps other people didn't know as well. So avoid those big salads before you fly, and I guess during your flight as well. Just if they offer like a light salad on the side, I suppose that's okay. But don't just, don't like look like a horse, like eating those like vegetables in a trough or anything like that. Another thing to avoid, this one makes sense to me, fried food, fast food. I think you're supposed to avoid those anyway, but especially when you're flying, it's full of dehydrating sodium, inflammatory fats that can lead to bloating and can disrupt your digestive tract. If that fried food comes with a bubbly soft drink, then that carbonation is adding additional air into your belly that can quickly expand as the cabin air pressure declines. So again, that cabin air pressure, really important, and I never considered that before. So a lot of times they might not offer this during the in-flight service, fast food or fried food a lot, but you can do that to yourself in the airport. So avoid those places, right? Don't get the fast food, don't get the fried food. Anyway, wherever you're going, you're guaranteed to be able to get that anyway. They're everywhere, right? Another suggestion, food to avoid before flying, anything that is not in your normal dietary routine. This is not the time to eat unfamiliar foods. Save that for after you have landed, after you're at the place that you want to go enjoy. Don't do that to yourself on a plane. You don't want to face a stomach that's upset while you're on a plane. So stick to your usual diet as much as possible, and that will make your flying experience perhaps less surprising in a bad way, right? So there we have it. That is our daily list for today. 5 foods to eat before you fly and 5 foods to avoid before you fly. I hope that will serve you well on your travels throughout the summer. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to You Love Who You Love by Zara Larsson, and then we'll be back with Inside Korea. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that was You Love Who You Love by Zara Larsson right there. And now it is time for Inside Korea, and I just want to mention really quick, I got a nice message from Im Ijung Nim who says, water, banana, yogurt, protein bar. Before flying, I'm going to take a trip from this Saturday. Thank you for the good info. All right, my pleasure. I was hoping that this would be useful information for those of you who are traveling. So yeah, I know I like eating as much as possible when I travel, but perhaps before you fly and during your flight is not the best trip. And I'm curious, Im Ijung-nim, are you taking a long flight or is it going to be a short one? Because obviously that might determine, what you eat and when and how much before you fly as well. But Inside Korea today, we're going to look at some news about what's happening here in Korea, some cultural news, also some kind of culture plus travel news. And this is the one that kind of got me thinking about food and travel. Beware of poppy seed seasoning products. That was the headline that I saw that caught my attention this week, and I saw, the poppy seeds, I haven't thought about those in a long time. I guess what has been happening is, according to the Korean Customs Agency, on Monday they said that summer vacationers who bring back nutritional supplements and seasoning products after traveling abroad should make sure that those items do not include substances that are banned in Korea. And I thought to myself, oh yes, poppy seed, that's banned. If you are from the United States, and especially if you've ever lived in New York or been to New York, it's hard to find a bagel that is not covered in poppy seeds, right? So those are actually not to be brought back to Korea. So keep that in mind. According to the Korea Customs Service, they said there is a surge in pent-up demand for overseas travel and an increased risk of travelers returning with prohibited items. And that could be intentionally or unintentionally. And you especially don't want to do the unintentionally one, right? Doing it intentionally is especially bad. But if you do it unintentionally and get yourself in trouble, then you feel like, oh, that's not fair. But that's why we're here to tell you about this, right? So the KCS, or the Korea Customs Service, revealed that it will initiate a special campaign from July 22nd to August 11th to promote more honest customs declarations among travelers, because perhaps people haven't been so honest about what they're bringing back. And you really just don't want to make a problem for yourself, right? The customs agency said, we've had cases of travelers who possess nutritional supplements and seasonings with addictive substances. These substances are permitted for medical and culinary purposes in other countries, but are strictly prohibited in Korea. And you might be thinking, like, what does this have to do with poppy seeds? Well, for example, there are seasoning products that are sold at various stores in the United States that have poppy seeds, and they may contain trace amounts of opiate residue because they come from the poppy plant. So you cannot bring those back to Korea. Keep that in mind. So if you have those poppy seed bagels, you're going to have to leave them in New York. The customs agency said bringing in those items is against the law, and we ask travelers to be extra careful when purchasing the items. And concerning customs declarations, the KCS stressed that the duty-free allowance for inbound travelers is $800 per person. For duty-free items, the KCS specifies that travelers can bring in 1 liter bottle of alcohol worth up to $400 and 100 packs of cigarettes. It seems like a slight imbalance there. Is that possibly correct? That's what the news article said. And those who do not make an honest declaration of what they bring back and are caught will face an additional tax penalty, and that can amount to 40% of the tax that they owe. So that sounds like a fairly big penalty. So this is more information I just wanted to pass on to those of you traveling. Enjoy whatever local food you have wherever you're traveling, but check carefully before you bring it back to Korea. Make sure it's something that is okay to bring back. For next story for today in Inside Korea is the number of high-earning young YouTubers has doubled in 2 years. So the number of one-person content creators in their 20s or younger that earn over 100 million won per year has doubled over the past 2 years, and this was information released on Monday from the National Tax Service. They showed that in 2022, 1,324 one-person content creators in their 20s or younger reported income exceeding 100 million won. That's about 2.5 times higher than in 2020. Big change? I think so. And they said this data was submitted to and released by Representative Cha Gyu-gyun from the minor opposition Rebuilding Korea Party. One-person content creators includes, channel operators on YouTube and live streamers on a variety of internet platforms. And they said in 2022, a total of 39,366 one-person content creators reported their income. Of them, 2,781 of these creators earned over 100 million won. That represents about 7% of the total. So some people are, I guess, doing fairly well making this content. If you look at the age groups, they say the largest number of high earners were in their 20s or younger, and that was 1,324 individuals. That was followed by 1,071 creators in their 30s, 273 in their 40s, and 113 aged 50 and above. So you can see there's definitely a clear difference in about age, by age group, who's doing this kind of content creation and also who's making the most money doing it. But should that dissuade you from doing it? No, it doesn't matter, right? If you want to do it and you're any age, it doesn't matter, right? Apparently, there are some successful people of all ages doing this. They said, on the flip side, about 31,481 of the creators, about 80% of the total, reported earnings of less than 25 million won. So, this is still like a decent amount of money to report. 100 million won per year is roughly $72,000 US dollars. So that's a good amount of money that people are making out there, right? According to a 2022 report, Hwang Sung-kyung is a senior researcher at the Hana Institute of Finance and wrote that Generation MZ, which means millennials and Generation Z together, they serve as the primary content consumers and suppliers. And obviously, with the evolution of tech platforms lowering the barriers to entry, becoming a creator has emerged as a popular side job. And I think for a lot of people, it's actually a main job and perhaps their goal. They said the influx of young creators, including teenagers, is definitely becoming more pronounced. According to Lee Jun-soo, who is a former cast member of a Korean reality show called Where Are We Going, Dad?, he disclosed in April that he had earned 8 million won in monthly profits at his peak. At 16 years old, he has around 217,000 subscribers on his channel. However, this released income data did not include donations received by YouTubers through their personal account exposure during broadcasts. So this could be what they call a tax blind spot, where people are receiving income that they're perhaps not reporting. Just to kind of go back to the first story about, reporting your customs forms to an honest degree, perhaps that's something to consider as well. If you're a content creator online, pay your fair share of taxes, I think is the point. The National Tax Service explained that it is actually quite difficult to track transaction details when subscribers send donations directly to personal accounts. So that, these taxes do go towards good things like your health service and road improvements, things we all use and things we all need, right? So just saying, perhaps it's time to be honest with your customs forms and your tax reports if you're generating content on online services. I got time for one more really quick. And this was, I thought, good news because I've heard about this personally. Rather than freeloading, foreigners actually subsidize NHIS, according to data. And this is something I've heard, as a foreign national living here in Korea. I have heard feedback from people saying that foreigners abuse the national health system here. And there's no real evidence of that I've ever been presented. It's just kind of common anecdotal evidence that people present where they're like, yes, it's well known. Foreigners will not pay into the system and they'll use it and then run away. However, according to data provided by the National Health Insurance Service, it showed that on Monday, foreign national subscribers pay more in contributions than they get back in benefits, debunking the belief that they are freeloading off the state-run health insurance program and demonstrating that they actually subsidize the system. In 2023, foreign national subscribers overall paid 2.04 trillion won, which is about 1.47 billion US dollars in insurance fees to the NHIS, or the National Health Insurance Service. So that's a lot of money. That's substantially more than the 1.27 trillion won they received in benefits. Nearly almost double. That's according to NHIS data that was released by Representative Nam In-soon of the main opposition Democratic Party of Korea. So what does this mean? The basic takeaway is foreign national subscribers created 730.8 billion won in revenue for the health insurance service through their contributions last year. So not only is the National Health Insurance Service not losing money because of foreigners, they're actually gaining a lot of money because of foreign nationals. And this was not only in 2023. The contributions of the NHIS foreign national subscribers have resulted in significant revenue generation for the service in each of the last 5 years. So this is a pattern we can see. There are a lot of specific numbers. You can look them up. You can take my word for it, or you can look them up yourself. But the main takeaway from this is, between South Korea's rapidly aging population and falling birth rate, the state insurance system has been suffering from financial problems. The NHIS's annual budget was expected to start recording a deficit by the end of this year, with its total deficit estimated to surpass 80 trillion won by 2042. So in other words, the service needs this money that is being paid by foreign nationals here. They said in recent years, suspicions have periodically surfaced about some foreign national residents, dependents abroad allegedly taking advantage of the NHIS to get medical treatment during short-term visits. There is some evidence of that, apparently. There was a recent report that showed that some Chinese nationals as a group have received more in benefits than they contributed annually between 2019 and 2023, though they were the only nationality among the top 10 contributing nationalities in the service that did so. In April, the Korean government mandated that all foreign national resident subscribers and their dependents must live in the country for 6 months before becoming eligible for NHIS coverage. So in other words, does this kind of thing happen? To a limited degree, apparently, but overall, actually foreign nationals are paying much more into the system than they're getting back. So I thought that was good news and actual data to back it up rather than just anecdotal evidence from people. So that's going to do it for Inside Korea today. And we're going to listen to the song Flames by David Guetta and Sia, and we'll be right back with our perfect playlist. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was Flames by David Guetta and Sia. And now it is time for our perfect playlist. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. We've got a theme for you each week, and this week's theme are songs that are lost singles of the 60s. I think you're familiar with this first artist name. I'm going to guess. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you might know who Elvis Presley is. And our first song is Reconsider Baby. It was actually a blues song written and recorded by Lowell Fulson in 1954. The song actually became a blues standard and has been recognized by the Blues Foundation and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2004, the songwriter Paul Simpson admired Presley's blues singing on Like a Baby and Reconsider Baby. A lot of baby. He also added, "It's hard to believe that this commitment and exhilaration was to be heard only fitfully for most of the 1960s, often on songs buried on B-sides or as bonuses on dodgy soundtracked albums." Dodgy albums, yes. Those are the ones you don't want to be on, I guess. But this is probably an Elvis Presley song that you may have never heard before, so I hope you enjoy that. Our second song, I'm also going to venture that you perhaps know this band. This is The Who. What is that? Oh, what is that? CSI? They got the theme song for that. Who Are You? You must at least know that song. Our second song is Circles, which is by The Who. Originally, it was planned to be a single, but it had a complicated release history because there were versions produced by The Who and produced by a producer named Shel Talmy, who is actually, I think, their original producer. And I guess the band secretly broke their contract with Shel Talmy soon after the January recordings, and then re-recorded the song as a B-side to their new UK single Substitute, which went on to be a little bit quite more famous. And then to get Talmy in court as soon as possible and ensure that a new record could be sold, this song Circles was chosen as a B-side so that Talmy could claim breach of copyright. However, management released the single with the name Instant Party as the B-side, and they hoped that the only copies with Circles listed would actually be withdrawn. So, complicated history of this song, Circles by The Who. And these are going to be our songs today on the perfect playlist. First up, Reconsider Baby by Elvis Presley, followed by Circles by The Who. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. You just heard that was Circles by The Who. And before that, that was Reconsider Baby by Elvis Presley. Kind of two very different sounds than what you might be used to for both of those artists. Elvis doing like a blues number where you could hear him kind of barking out orders to the band. Play the guitar, baby. Yeah. And then you could hear The Who and their power pop phase, which was like, I guess early on in their career. It kind of changed quickly from that. But definitely very, very enjoyable songs there for the perfect playlist for today. And I guess we're going to have to wrap up the show with that. I appreciate all your messages. I wanted to share one from Mr. Jack Kim there, who says, my question today was, what is one food you like to get when you travel? And Jack Kim says, it might be gochujang. And I actually have traveled with some of my friends from Korea, and I actually did travel with somebody who did bring that with them. It's I think it's perfectly legal. Well, you should always check into the laws wherever you're going to travel, of course. But yes, gochujang was one of the things that one of my friends who traveled with me brought, and I was like, really? Okay, cool. But I did get to travel on a Korean airline, one of them. And they provided gochujang through one of the meals, and I brought some of that with me to the U.S. and let people try it. So yeah, you never know. Gochujang's a good traveling companion. You know, it goes with so many different things. So that's a good choice for sure. Also, Neil Nim saying he likes to get ice cream when he travels to the desert, to the Sahara Desert. So I mean, think about where you're going and what is the appropriate food for that location, something you might experience only there, or something that might just be good to enjoy while you're in that particular place. There's all kinds of good food out there in the world, right? And apparently the big lesson for me is the more that you try different kinds of food, probably the healthier you are, because you're probably getting a mixture of different kinds of proteins, vitamins, minerals, fruits, vegetables, all that good stuff. So try everything, eat everything while you're out there traveling over the summer. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Wednesday. I've been your host, Casey McKeever. And of course, we will reboot again tomorrow at 2:05 p.m. We're going to play one more song for you. This is going to be At First Sight by Elian Elias. And of course, stick around for Your Busan.